Not every soldier chose to go. Millions were drafted, called up by lottery. A single birth date could decide your fate. Some found deferments through college or connections. Others had no such options. The burden fell hardest on the poor and working class. Some refused outright, burning their draft cards in protest. Tens of thousands fled to Canada rather than fight. On campuses, the anti-war movement grew louder every year. Music became its own form of protest. Even inside homes, the war divided parents from their children. Every night, television delivered the casualty count, like a scoreboard no one wanted to watch. Above the jungle, a different war raged, fought at the speed of sound. North Vietnam built one of the deadliest air defense networks on Earth. Hundreds of American pilots were shot down over hostile territory. Survival meant capture, and capture meant years of uncertainty. Many were taken to a prison in Hanoi. American POWs gave it a bitter nickname, the Hanoi Hilton. Conditions inside were brutal: isolation, interrogation, years without contact home. Prisoners developed secret codes, tapping messages through the walls just to stay sane. Among the captured were future public figures, men whose stories would shape American politics for decades. Back home, POW families held vigils, bracelets engraved with names, worn until their loved ones came home. America did not fight this war entirely alone. South Korea sent hundreds of thousands of troops, its largest overseas deployment ever. Australia and New Zealand committed forces of their own, fighting alongside the Americans. Thailand and the Philippines contributed troops and vital air bases, but it was South Vietnam's own army that bore the heaviest and longest burden of all. On the other side, the Soviet Union and China armed and supplied the North. Soviet weapons, Chinese advisors, a proxy war layered beneath the visible one. When the war ended, not everyone came home. Over 1,500 Americans remained listed as missing in action. For their families, the war never truly ended, only the fighting did. Decades later, joint recovery teams still search crash sites and jungle graves. Modern science now helps identify remains lost for half a century. Even today, a soldier occasionally comes home, decades after he was lost. Veterans of this war still carry it with them every single day. Many struggled for years with wounds no one could see. In Vietnam, too, grandparents still tell their grandchildren what the war cost them. Decades later, former enemies became trading partners, even allies. But the wall in Washington still stands, a place where the past is never far away. Two nations, one war, and a memory neither has ever fully set down. This was the rest of the story, the one too often left out of the headlines. This was also the first television war. Reporters went straight into combat, cameras rolling. Uncensored footage reached households within a day or two. A single photograph could shift public opinion overnight. War stopped being distant, it arrived at the breakfast table. Some correspondents paid with their lives for that closeness. Dozens of journalists died covering a war that refused to stay off camera. Vietnam was never the only battlefield. In Laos, a hidden war raged for years, barely acknowledged in public. More bombs fell in Laos than in all of World War II combined. In Cambodia, the chaos of war fed something even darker. A brutal regime, the Khmer Rouge, rose from the wreckage, with catastrophic consequences to come. The war's shadow stretched far beyond Vietnam's own borders. New weapons defined this war as much as old strategies failed it. Napalm turned jungle into firestorm in seconds. Search and destroy missions blurred the line between soldier and civilian. Success was measured in body counts, a grim, imperfect metric. American tunnel rats crawled into the dark to fight an enemy underground, one narrow passage at a time. There was no true front line, only jungle and the enemy within it. By the time the guns fell silent, the numbers were almost impossible to comprehend. 58,000 Americans, over 1 million Vietnamese soldiers, millions more civilians. Financially, the war cost the United States hundreds of billions of dollars. Its economic ripple effects reached households that never saw the war firsthand. And in Vietnam, the physical scars of the war remain visible even now. Every soldier who survived carried 2 versions of themselves home. Today, a new generation studies this war from textbooks, not headlines. Where bombs once fell, ordinary life has quietly returned. The Vietnam War remains a warning, written in memory, and never fully closed. This was the rest of the story.